Our last pre-final gets underway, and it's going to be the most action-packed one of all. We've been waiting and waiting. Now 36 drivers from Senior Rotax make their way out onto the 1,360-metre circuit for the pre-final. Let's have a look at the starting order for Senior Rotax, shall we? Starting on pole position will be Belgium's Luca Leistra, and we'll have the Netherlands 301 of Max Stemmerdink alongside. Finland's Juho Valtonen in the 342 will be alongside him. Will be on row 3. Alongside will be Storm Brouwer in the 338. Luca Thiel from Germany and Dylan Lahaye from Belgium round out the top 3 rows. Luna Blum from the Netherlands and Milan Koppens round out row 4 with Milan Ritter and Nick Coppens rounding out the top 10. Christian de Klein from the Netherlands will be joined by countryman Danny Prins on row 6 with Ehad Turker from Turkey and Lara Zainen from Belgium completing row 7. Row 8 is Luca Schoenmakers from the Netherlands and Francis Kilian Tarnier. Row 9, it is Flint Schuring from the Netherlands and Germany's Fabian Bock. Completing the top 20 is Patrick Rundqvist from Sweden and Vincent van Kouwkoffen from Belgium. Completing the 36 strong from 21st downwards. From the Netherlands, you have Sam Bergstein, Jordi van der Eyck, Bart de Wit, Jori Westerleken, Yash Ramjankan, and Tim van der Scheepop. The 350 of Victor Plateau from Belgium, Jens van der Heijden, Bennett Ahrens, Sem van Thiel, and the 6 qualifiers from the second chance heat, Mads Ries, Patrick Slokmelis, Vincent Boutier, Gilles Clouet, Beard Dorrestein, and Colin van Lammeren. So we have 13 minutes plus an additional lap set in stone here. Every single race we've had so far, I think, has had a clean start. Let's see if the 36 Senior Rotax drivers can make sure it is a clean sweep before we go into the lunch break. And the action will resume at 13:30 local time here in Belgium, which will be in just over 3/4 of an hour. But around 15 minutes of that will be filled by these 36 warriors going into battle around this fantastic circuit. First established back in 83 and got a full redesign back in 2005. So now it is down to Leistra and Stemmerdink to control the pace as they go through the final corner. They now head into the tram lines. Are we ready? Are we steady? The revs look to rise. I think that is a false start, but it looks like they've gone through hammer and tongs because one driver on the left-hand side of the grid raised their arms. But it looks like the timer is counting down, so it is a good getaway for the pre-final. Someone's gone very, very wide coming out of turn 4 and touches the grass. I think that was one kart that is at the back of the field. The kart at the back of the field was the one that had a technical problem. That is the 374, and that is Nick Coppens that started out in the top 10. Nick Coppens' weekend has just gone from okay to pretty bad, as now Storm Brouwer, I think that is the case, is up the ins, or is that Juho Valtonen? So Valtonen battling away with Leicester, I believe, at the front of the field. Storm Brouwer is in there. Max Stemmerdink rounds out the top 3. Dylan Lahaye up into P5. And they're all squabbling over the positions behind. Milan Ritter, I think, is factoring in there too, along with quite a few other drivers. As now Storm Brouwer looking to go up the inside of Juho Valtonen and gets the job done through turn 2. Dylan Lahaye and Luca Thiel round out the top 6 positions. Then it's Milan Koppen, Milan Ritter, Lars Zanen, Luna Blom in P10. As they're all squabbling over the same part of tarmac going through the Europalan, and it's too wide at some points of the circuit, and that's for round about 7th position at this particular moment in time as the leaders come through turn 8 and into the left at 9. Leistra leads from Stemmerdink, then it is Storm Brouwer, then it is Juho Valtonen. Dylan Lahaye rounds out the top 5 ahead of Luca Thiel and Milan Koppens. That's the top 7. Milan Ritter and Lars Zanen round out the top 9 ahead of Luna Blom, who completes the top 10, followed by Fabian Bock. And it looks like Ehad Turker is swarming in 12th position, as up to the inside of Luca Leistra goes Max Stemmerdink for the lead on lap number 3. So Nick Coppens looks to have parked it. The 374 from Belgium will start from 36th and stone dead last in the final, the last race of the weekend at 14:45. There's the forlorn cart there. I'm sure that Nick Cuppins is absolutely disappointed, and that's an understatement if I'm completely truthful there. Other drivers that have made news. Mads Rees already up into P27. The Dane is climbing in the 379. Jens van der Heijden. As all, there's a moment there for Lystra. Oh, Dylan LaHaye gets a little bit of wheel touch with Juho Valtonen and goes up into the air off of turn 10. And that is very, very dramatic. There's more drama coming through the exit of turn 12. There's a gaggle of at least 10 carts, I count, as now these straight line trains keep on happening. Milan Koppens getting feisty with Luca Thiel. And there's Luna Blum in the mix as well. Consider you've also got Dylan LaHaye, Fabian Bach and Milan Ritter. The tension now has gone to fever pitch as we have just over 3 minutes to this race completed. Still 9 3/4 minutes still to go. There are people battling up and down the order. There's a bit of a tussle. Patrick Rundqvist in the middle of that, I believe. Well, and he was battling away with Sam Bergstein and Flint Schuring. So Rundqvist had a bit of a moment. Yet Valtonen springs up the inside of teammate Stormbrouwer through turn 10. Now has Dylan LaHaye in his crosshairs. Dylan LaHaye, the 2019 Senior Rotax BNL Karting Series champion. Vice champion to that was Clayton Ravenscroft. And that was 2 weeks before Sarno. And Dylan LaHaye decided, well, I'm going to give the ticket to Ravenscroft because it's a bit too close for me. But nevertheless, this is his 8th season. He's starting it off in the best way possible as Dylan LaHaye. He's currently in P3 at the moment. As now Valtonen back up the inside of the Belgian, where he takes third position. Lystra keeping his head down, but Max Stemmerdink still leads. And we are now on lap number 5. Mads Rees has set the fastest lap of the race. Mads Rees, ladies and gentlemen, is like a Danish freight train at the moment. He's already up from 31st to 20th position, and we are on lap number 5. I'm sure that's going to change, and he's going to find himself a little bit further up the top 20. Well, Max Stemmerdink now will have probably in excess of a 1.5 second lead, as he will now come round the final corner and complete lap number 5. Gap between him and Luca Lystra actually has slightly dropped, but Juho Valtonen now goes up the inside of the Belgian through turn 2 to take position, take the second place. There is Dylan LaHaye still there. Stormbrouwer, Luca Thiel, Luna Blum has got Lars Zanen closing on her back bumper in the 397. Milan Koppens down in 9th place ahead of Germany's Fabian Bach. But then you've got a few other drivers in there as well. Christian de Klein in 12th position. Mads Rees now up into 19th. Jordi van der Eyck now up into 16th position. Patrick Slokmelis up to 26th. Gilles Clouet up into 29th. Having made his way through into this is now all sideways and a half there from Dylan LaHaye going through the inside of turn 10 on Luca Lystra. That nearly opened the floodgates, and now Stormbrouwer trying to go through the inside. Oh, and Lystra gives LaHaye a taste of his own medicine through turn 12, and now LaHaye gets compromised. Lars Zanen has got past him, Luna Blum has got past him, and could Milan Koppens also go through there as well? Lystra loses out to Stormbrouwer as Lystra nearly gets compromised in the runoff area. Luna Blum is now ahead of the 307 from Belgium, who was running at the lead of this race, and now with close to halfway completed, Zanen up the inside, LaHaye up the inside, Koppens having to avoid, Bach in the tow. These drivers now really pushing like crazy. We've got 6 minutes and 53 seconds still remaining on the clock. And this has gotten rather spicy. There haven't been too many altercations where carts have ended up off the circuit. The biggest drama was for Nick Cuppins on the very first lap. Not even had he got to possibly halfway down the Europolar before the technical issue caused him a problem. As there's another move up the inside. I think that was Milan Ritter making another move. As now the battle for the top 3 has the top 3 is really kicking off. The thing is that Max Stemmerdink has got a 1.14 second advantage ahead of Juho Valtonen. Valtonen is getting quicker and quicker by the lap and has gone over a 1/10.5 quicker that time around after lap 7 in the books. Stormbrouwer has Luca Thiel and Luna Blum closing. Luna Blum looks to the inside of Luca Thiel, nearly goes through on the inside of turn 7, but she backs out of it. Luca Lystra has now got Lars Zanen closing on his back bumper with Milan Koppens, Fabian Bach, Dylan LaHaye, is now out of the top 9. He's in P10, and he's got Lucas Schoenmakers closing on him. Mads Ries, in the meantime, is making short work of the opposition. And with 5.5 minutes to go, Mads Ries is only 7.1 seconds behind the leader. And that is Max Stemmerdink. As now, Luca Thiel and Luna Blum still battling away over P3 with Storm Brouwer. Valtonen has got the gap down to a second between himself and Max Stemmerdink, and went nearly a 1/10.5 quicker. Mads Ries has done the fastest lap of anybody, a 54.781 for the Dane. But he's now coming in with traffic. He's got past Flint Shearing. He's got Jordi van der Eyck ahead. I think might have gotten past him. As now Luna Blom up the inside of Luca Thiel through turn 9. Great job by her, and she's managed to get past, so has an opportunity at a top 3. And that will give her a lot of confidence going into the final at 14:45 this afternoon. 4 minutes and 40 still to go. Gap between Stemmerdink and Valtonen has now dropped by a further 0.17, as Valtonen has just done a 55.009. Mads Ries has now made up 16 positions. He's up to 15th from 31st at the start. He's 1.1 seconds behind the 3.99 of the Netherlands' very own Christian de Klein. So don't be at all surprised if Mads Ries really gets himself into the prime position. I think a top 10 is possible for the Dane with 4 minutes plus an additional lap still to go. But Lystra and Zanen have now joined the battle for P3. And whilst this battle has been happening, at this particular moment in time, Juho Valtonen has been on average at least a 10th or a couple of tenths, maybe even as high as 3 tenths quicker than teammate from Stampex Motorsport, Storm Brouwer. But Luna Blom now right in his wheel tracks, as is Luca Thiel. Now here comes Luca Lystra. Blom looking to the inside. Up the inside she goes, and also Luca Thiel decides to go through too. Runoff area used there by Storm Brouwer to get back into 4th position. But Luca Thiel unfazed. He went up the inside through turn 4, and then Luca Lystra went up the inside of Storm Brouwer in rapid succession through turn 5. Now here's Lars Zanen bump drafting on as now Lystra up the inside of Luca Thiel, and round the outside. Oh my goodness me, that was round the outside from Lars Zanen on Storm Brouwer, and then Dylan LaHaye decided to cheekily put it up the inside. That's a great move from the GKS pairing. Storm Brouwer dropping down the order. He's now got Milan Koppens, Fabian Bock, and a few others behind, including Lucas Schoenmakers. And now Milan Koppens up the inside of Storm Brouwer. Schoenmakers trying to force the issue too and try and get through on the exit of turn number 12. Schoenmakers looks to his right-hand side to see if anything's going. He's going to fire it up the inside of Storm Brouwer. So Storm Brouwer now very close to being outside of the top 10, and he's caused a concertina effect, and the driver involved that has been surfed out to the right. He came into contact with Fabian Bock, and then Yanni Prince had nowhere to go, and you can see the marking on the right front of that bumper for Danny Prince. So Danny Prince able to get back onto the circuit. 2 minutes and 12 seconds still remaining. So Max Stemmerdink continues to lead. The gap between him and Juho Valtonen has been chipped away at by the Flying Finn, with plenty of Finnish Sisu today in that kind of instance. The gap was 0.682 between first and second position. Linda Blum now is trying to stretch an advantage, which was over 8 tenths over Luca Lystra, now down to just over 0.6. Juho Valtonen has got the gap down to just over half a second on Max Stemmerdink, as now Lars Zanen and Dylan LaHaye start battling. LaHaye fires it up the inside of his GKS teammate through turn number 3 and gets it done by 4. 90 seconds still to go. Behind them, Lucas Schoenmakers and Milan Koppens still battling away over P8, and at the minute Schoenmakers has got that advantage. Storm Brouwer now has dropped all the way down to P10. Colin Van Lammeren has now, I think, parked the cart, so we're going to have 34 drivers hopefully finishing this race. Not as much as a race of attrition as I thought it might be, but it's been a lot closer. The thing is that on finals day, if you're in a pre-final, you try and get yourself into the best position possible. And at the moment, Juho Valtonen wants to be on pole position for that final. We've got just under 50 seconds remaining on the clock here, and Juho Valtonen is within 4/10. He's just been a 54.782. Mads Rees now has the best part of 1.4 seconds to find, and if he can get past Stormbrower before the checkered flag, he will be in the top 10 for the final, and then you have a real outside chance that that Danish protagonist will have an opportunity of becoming the 2021 BNL Karting Series Kickoff Senior Road Tax Champion. We're into the last 20 seconds of the race, and Juho Valtonen still pressing forward, still trying to do his level best. And look at the gap now. That is less than 3/10 of a second, I bet. And they will have another. We're now on the penultimate lap. 0.333. Lukas Schomakers has just put in the fastest lap of the race. Stormbro's got past Milan Coppens for P9, but Coppens trying to mount a counter-offensive through turn 2 and into turn 3. Mads Rees now is 4/10 off of Kilian Tanier, so Mads Rees could find himself on row 6 for the final. And there's a few other drivers. The likes of Mads Rees will possibly be... Well, there is Mads Rees, and he's right on the back bumper of Milan Coppens, who I think has just had Kilian Tanier come past him, and that is the case. So Mads Rees looking rather strong here as Stormbrower goes ultra defensive on Milan Coppens. Kilian Tanier, does he get pounced on by Mads Rees? Rees gets the move done through turn 11, and he's not done yet as the Dane. Final lap board is out. Max Stemmerdink ahead of Juho Valtonen. They go on to the 16th and final lap. But what a spirited drive. I think the drive of the weekend from Mads Rees. 2 DNFs in the heats yesterday. A win in heat 3, and he finished... he went from lights out to checkered flag as, look, the battle for third place. Oh! Luca, now that was very, very interesting indeed. Now, who's come out on top on that one? As there was one driver that was being pushed unceremoniously to the right-hand side. Luna Blum is going to be on the inside of row number 2, but that's dependent on Dylan LaHaye. As they now go through turn 10, Leicester's got Luca Thiel, Lukas Schomakers, but now the leaders come through. Is Valtonen going to pip Max Stemmerdink to the line? 67 thousandths decided it. Luna Blum, can she hold on from Dylan LaHaye? She does by 52 thousandths. Luca Leistra in there as well. They're 3 abreast at points coming across the line. Oh, and by 53 thousandths of a second. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Mads Rees has made up 20 positions and was 54 thousandths of a second away from taking 10th place. But your senior road tax pre-final winner after 16 laps of competition, Max Stemmerdink. He must be absolutely buzzing right now for 301. He finished 67 thousandths ahead of Juho Valtonen from Finland, with Luna Blom rounding out the top 3. The rounding out of the top 10 is as follows. Dylan LaHaye and Luca Leistra round out a 4-5 for Belgium, with GKS and Boven respectively represented. JJ Racing's Luca Thiel, GKS's Lars Zanen, Lukas Schomakers from JJ Racing. Stormbrower, I think, will be kicking himself because that was a race he could have possibly have won. Ends up P9. Milan Coppens and Mads Rees round out the top 11 ahead of Kilian Tanier. Christian de Klein, who finished in 13th. Patrick Rundqvist in 14th ahead of Fabian Bock. Jordi van der Eyck, Vincent van Kouwhoffen, Ehad Turker, Milan Ritter, Patrick Slokmelis up from 32nd to 20th at the end of the race. Bennett Ahrens in 21st, Jordi Westerleken, Victor Plateau, Jens van der Heyden, Yashrab Jankan, Zem van Zyl rounding out 26th position. Ahead of Bart de Wit, Flint Schuring, Vincent Bouteye, Bia Dorrestein, Tim van der Scheepop, Sam Bergstein, Danny Prince, and Gilles Chloé being the last of the 34 classified finishers that finished all 16 laps, with Colin Van Lameren's race ending on lap 11, and Nick Coppens, who we see on our screens there, his race being ended at the middle of the Europolon on lap number 1.